Okay, maybe you're like me and you've noticed now that there's a difference between the way we were handling strings in the last video and the way we were handling numbers in the last few videos. So if you think back to how we manipulated a string, if we had a string and we called it my name and set it equal to Bruce Wayne, and we wanted to pull a subsection out of that, we said my name dot, and then we did sub string or sub str, whichever one you preferred. And you'll notice the syntax for that was variable name dot, and then something you wanted to do with it. However, when we wanted to manipulate numbers, like take the square root of something, we had a number like let mine, or we'll just take this random number that we generated here. And if we wanted to take the square root of that, then we had to say math dot s square root my num. So in this case, we were accessing an outside library and using the square root function rather than just using our variable name dot and then the function we wanted to use. So that was because we were covering the math library. They're actually, just like there are with strings, where you can say my name dot and you can see everything you could do with the string, there is a similar thing for numbers. So I'm going to say my number equals 10. And then I could say my number dot, and then you can see a list of things you can do with it. So the first one we're going to talk about is toFixed. So toFixed is how you round numbers. So if I have 10.998 and I want to round it to 2 decimal places, then I'm going to use mynum.toFixed. So the way this works is we'll say alert mynum, oh, not my name, mynum dot toFixed, and then we put the parentheses. Now I'm going to pause here to explain the hint that pops up. When you pop up the hint, it says fraction digits and it wants you to give a number. And this is the number of digits after the decimal point, and it must be in the range of 0 to 20 inclusive. So you could have it round to 0 digits, or you could have it round to 20 digits after the decimal place. In this case, I want to round it to just, oh, actually, let me make those numbers something that will round a little better. So I want to round it to the second decimal place after the digit. So if I put a 2, and I save that, if we come over to our web browser, we can see it rounded to 10.99. So the reason I changed that was because if this was a 9 and we round it to 2 decimal places and we reload the page, it rounds to 11 because it rounds up the 9 and that becomes a 10. So you carry the 1 and it rounds all the way up to 11. So toFixed allows you to specify the number of digits after the decimal place. Some other things you can do with my numbers, you could say my num dot, oh, I deleted my number, sorry. We'll say let my num equal 10. You can say my num dot, and you can say toString. When you do this, it takes your number and converts it into a string. So it takes this 10 without quotes and turns it into a 10 with quotes. So if we alert and we go back to a concept we covered in a previous video where we did type of, so if we said alert the type of mynum.toString, then the message we get is that this should be a string. So if we come over here and we reload our page, we get that this is a string. So if you want to convert something from a number into a string, you'll use mynum.toString. And that concludes this video on working with numbers.